All right, video is live. Stand by for audio. All right, good day and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Live the Fuel show. So today and this evening, I am bringing back on a returning co-host. This gentleman is known as Andy Schreiber, and I'm throwing his name out there first because there's so much stuff I have to add on the tail end. He is a regular co-host on Vinnie Tortorich's Fitness Confidential. Okay, if you haven't read the book yet, you got to read the book. You got to follow the podcast. He's a regular on all these other podcasts. But long story short, Andy is leveled up in many other ways since I met him through Vinny's show because he's also co-founder of Pure Vitamin Club. I am a user and a consumer of those products. And most recently, purecoffeeclub.com. So without further ado, Andy, welcome back to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. I mean, obviously, I'm barely trying to keep up with you, sir. You guys couldn't stop with one pure company. You had to add a second.
Well, you know, we thought about it for a long time before we branched out because we wanted to make sure we were on firm footing with Pure Vitamin Club.
Sure.
But, you know, it sort of grew organically. It wasn't like we thought, you know, what else can we do? It grew organically out of as we were trying to learn more about our customers and what they wanted. Mm-hmm. And what their, the marketing term is pain points. What are their pain points? Which are, when you want to know about your customers, what are the things that concern them that they need help with in their lives? So we did some research. We, ran some questionnaires with our customers. And the number one pain point that came up all the time was energy. How do I get more energy? That was actually the driver behind our third product at Pure Vitamin Club being the vitamin B12.
Yeah, the sublingual. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the driver behind that. We thought that, that is for people for whom the reason they don't have enough energy is a low vitamin B12 level. It's not going to give, if you're, have a great level of B12 in your system, it's not going to give you energy. Mm-hmm. But that is a pain point for a lot of people, and a lot of people are deficient or in the low normal range.
Well, let's be real. A lot of people are looking for the, and I know Vinny's, I think it's been a few shows since I heard him say this, but since I'm a regular follower of your guys' podcast, obviously, he's quite passionate about the word hack. And
right.
Now, whereas I like to throw it out because I'm like, hey, man, I'm a marketing guy, so I'm going to tap into what's really viral right now. Right. And there's a right way and a wrong way to hack. So even though he's not a fan of the term, I think you can at least, with me, connect in a different way because, listen, in the end, we're business professionals as well, not just being health nuts. And if that's what people are understanding right now, then we need to connect with them at that level. I mean, sure. So how are you connecting with the term hack in a different way than Vinny is in relation to what you and I are discussing right now?
Hack is a funny word because it has so many different uses.
Yeah, different connotations.
Yeah, a hack is somebody who is sort of a phony at what they do. He's just a hack. He doesn't do it. That's kind of the way we all grew up using the word hack. And then it took on this other meaning where there was a way to, it reminds me of the expression jury rig. There's a way to...
Yeah, jerry rigging. Nice. I'm with you.
Around, find a clever, cheap, easy way, a shortcut to do something that might be more complicated or more expensive. So there's a way to, they talk about kitchen hacks, ways to, little shortcuts around the kitchen by, putting tinfoil in this and then it'll, whatever it is, they call those hacks.
Or like using something as simple as a crock pot, right? Or a slow cooker. Technically, some people call that a lifestyle hack.
They call that, some people call that a kitchen hack. I just call that an efficient way to do something.
There you go.
So I don't kind of tend to use it in that way, but I understand when people do, they're looking for a quick fix sometimes is the way they use a hack. And that's why Vinny doesn't like it.
Well, no, and I respect, to our listeners, guys, we're talking about, obviously, the Pure Coffee Club, Pure Vitamin Club co-founder, Vinnie Tortorich. He's the trainer to the stars in LA, where these guys are located out in California. And, I respect Vinny because that's you guys wouldn't be friends, I think, otherwise. Like, he just says it how it is. He's not going to hold back. He's a truthful man. Some people may or may not agree with what he's saying, but in the end, he's speaking from the heart, and you can't beat the purity of that.
No. And Vinnie just, he won't bullshit you. He won't lie.
No.
He won't endorse something that is meant to be a workaround that is phony baloney.
Mm-hmm.
Look, there are some workarounds, and we all find ways to work around certain things. I have to deal with that all the time in, getting a website working, where something, one way doesn't work. You find a workaround to make what you want to happen when the system isn't set up to do it that way. But with energy, the issue was energy. There are various reasons that people don't have energy.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, a lot of us, it's just we don't get to sleep enough. We work too hard. Some of us, it is that we lack vitamin B12, and that will help. But if you've got a lot of B12 and you're sleeping well, there are other things, and maybe you're just working too hard and you need a little boost. So,
well, I mean, let's be real. If we cut it down to the basics, like if Vinnie was on right now, I mean, and me being a health and fitness guy, being a CrossFit coach and a nutrition coach in my free time, I tell people all the time, like if you had to break it down to the basics, it's like, okay, most people on average are lacking, as you're hinting, sleep, rest, and recovery, right? R&R, me being a former firefighter, like R&R was huge. Rest and recovery, man, let the body and the mind heal. Sleep was crucial. But then to your point, B12. That totally is tied back to a nutritional alignment, right? How you're fueling the body, how you're actually putting the right nutrients into the body. That's a key component of the lifestyle. But we can't control everybody's lifestyle. There's the puppy. To our listeners, guys, he's a fellow dog lover. I'm a fellow dog lover. I'm waiting for Calvin the Coonhound to eventually do something in the background, but hopefully he's not. So, but anyway, so B12. Real quick, why don't we connect that for the listeners? Because we have a lot of newer listeners these days who haven't actually heard of Pure Vitamin Club, which is your other entity. So why is B12 so crucial in energy and our nutrition? Like, it's missing in a lot of people's nutrition lineup.
That's the thing. B12 is the energy vitamin, but if you are getting enough vitamin B12 in your system, there are blood tests. If you go to your doctor for your standard battery of blood tests, they won't test for that. That's something you have to ask for. But they can test for your levels. The majority of people, more than 50%, will be just fine. About 10 to 12% will be literally deficient, where it's just subpar. In which case, you're going to feel real, diminution of your energy. But on top of that, there are probably like a third to like 2/5 of the population that are in what would be like the low normal range. So, not technically deficient, but below normal enough that you're going to feel some of the effects of the B12 deficiency, which are, chronic fatigue, muscle aches. There are a lot of sometimes if it's really bad, you'll have difficulty breathing, other things like that. But the biggest symptom is chronic fatigue.
Well, I mean, let's connect real quick to your fellow co-founder. I mean, you guys founded this company not just on B12, but obviously magnesium and other key. I mean, you guys have a multi-cap. You got the pure, you have the magnesium.
We started with the basics. We started with a multivitamin.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I tell people all the time, it's hilarious. I got into this argument the other day, and I was really jonesing to talk to you or both of you on the same podcast today, because I feel like I'm finally at your level. Like, I don't have a vitamin company. Like, I'm a big supporter of you guys. I'm a big supporter of other companies that I believe in too, right? Because in the end, I feel like I'm always telling people these days that they're like, oh, well, you're a paleo, crossfitting, whole foods guy. So you should know, man, like you tap into that organic, grass-fed, pasture-raised, yada, 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 you'll be fine. And usually Vinnie is all about that, right? The whole foods, like, dude, you should get everything you need from the whole food. But
as much as you can.
Most people aren't doing that. And also, the nutrient density of our food is not the way it was 20, 30 years ago. It
has been seriously compromised by pollution, by what's in our soil, how things are grown, what they add.
The biggest thing is soil.
Organic.
Yeah. So the degradation of our soil is huge. As a kid who grew up in farming, I was around it as a kid, and I took it for granted like everybody else. Yeah, and now years later, I look back and I'm like, I'm 40 years old, and I'm like, holy crap, we don't do what we did when my family was a kid, when I was a kid. It's totally at a different level.
No, it's completely different. So no matter how well you're eating, you're not going to get 100% of your nutrients properly. That's why you do a multivitamin. Then, as we've developed the company, our mission has been, what are the biggest needs that people have? Let's address those. We're not funded with, $10 million where we can just go out and roll out a whole line. So we, completely self-fund. So we didn't do our second product until there was enough revenue from our multivitamin to, fund a second one. Same thing and that was our magnesium, because magnesium, of all the vitamins and minerals, is the one that more people are deficient in than anything else. And the one that does more things, importantly for your body, is involved in more metabolic processes, helps you with sleep and relaxation and digestion. It just does so much. And a lot of people are deficient.
I could tell you, it's become a program, because like I tell people all the time, like they know if they go to my website and they went into my resources, like I'm an isogenics guy, right? But like isogenics isn't perfect. Not every company is perfect. Mm-hmm. Even in my nutritional alignment and the supplementation that I utilize to backfill where I know my whole foods are missing, I never had a pure vitamin supplement. And then I looked at your alignment and the design that you guys went into, and I'm like, oh, dude, this is like, you guys taught me something. That's one thing that I greatly appreciate. When I find a company like you guys, what you did, and I'm going to stroke your ego because I believe in it. I'm like, dude, these guys literally went to town on figuring out how to do it right. Don't hold back. And it might cost a little more. You guys had to do some equipment designs and crazy manufacturing stuff to make it happen. But you didn't hold back. You're like, I'm not going to use fake fillers and crap to make this vitamin.
No, that was the whole thing, is we wouldn't do anything with fillers or additives, because all that stuff degrades the absorption and the quality of what you're ingesting, what you're buying it for. And it also, some of it is genuinely toxic.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, and actually, keep going, Andy, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop into a screen share like I normally do for our YouTube watchers, because YouTube's been blowing up right now. By the way, I don't know if your YouTube channel's blowing up, but mine's been blowing up the past 3 weeks. It's been crazy. I'm literally increasing by 10 to 15 followers a week. I don't know what you're at.
Fantastic. Yeah, right? I haven't been paying attention to that because we just rolled out the new company, so I've been kind of swamped. But
I know. But so real quick for our listeners and our followers watching right now, this is exactly what I order. I don't hold back, right? Like, I'm actually on their, what do you guys call this? The combo C?
That's
C
the
combo?
Pack C, because you get all three. And it's
exactly. I was already on the daily cap, then I was already on the I added the magnesium, and the quick backstory on that was I added the magnesium to help my fiance with her sleeping habits, but she sucks at taking pills. Even if I told her to crack it open like you taught me, you can just, because it's so pure, you can just crack the vegetable capsule open and dump it.
Water.
See, never did it. So it's like, fine, I'm going to take it. And I'm loving it, man. Every night before I go to sleep, I take a magnesium.
Whole different quality of sleep.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. And if I don't take it, it's really weird.
There's our little promo thing that comes up.
Yeah. Who was the guy in the photo there, by the way?
You know what? I don't even know. Our digital guy did that.
Oh, okay. Cool. And real quick, that little blue label there's that sublingual, right?
That's sublingual. That was the toughest one to do, because the other two are capsules, and capsules are easier to do the way we wanted to do, with no fillers, because you just put the materials in the capsule. We can do it. With a tablet, and we've talked about this before, it was a manufacturing process to figure out a way to hold a tablet together without using junk. And that took a year to figure out. And we finally did. And, we're working on, we've got an exclusivity on that particular process, and we're working on.
You guys could literally get paid for licensing one day on somebody trying to get a hold of your process. And that's why, I wanted to make sure, even though I'm geeking out and I want us to talk about Pure Coffee Club, I think it's important to at least share this part of it, right? Like some of the backstory behind where you guys came from, because you targeted vitamins before you even started tackling coffee. And I think that's crucial. It shows the right approach to what you guys went with.
Well, just really quickly, the backstory is, Vinnie, as you know, had leukemia and went through that process, recovering from that, which, thank goodness, he's totally fine and has been now for 9 years, something like that, 9.5, whatever it is.
Yeah, they tell me he has to go back every year for testing, but they keep finding nothing.
But he had, even before that, he had an interest in developing vitamins because he believes in supplementation, not crazy supplementation. You know, there's people that take 45 pills a day. That gets crazy. But some basics, you know, supplementation makes sense. But everything out there was crap and had all these harmful materials, which actually some of them can cause cancer. So, you know, he'd wanted to do this, reached a point in his life where he had the means after the success of the book and the success of the podcast. He had a following, which he knew would enable him to have a market for it and get the word out. He and I are old buddies, and we've been involved in some ventures before. So, you know, he literally called me one day and said, Andy, we're going into the vitamin business. And I said, all right, you know, talk to me. And, you know, a year later, we launched. And that's been the sort of the mantra the whole time is we will not put any crap in our vitamins. We will only come out with a new product when we can make it the best that not just the best we can do, but the best anybody can do.
And you're making it affordable and approachable.
And we want to make it easy. We don't want, you know, I've seen stuff, you know, that are high-end products where it's like, you know, $60, $70, $80 a month for, you know, a supplement. And we never wanted to do that. So,
well, I mean, I just showed you the package C. What was the package C? Like $55, but that's like
$55.
That's a 90-day supply.
That's a 90-day supply. So you're getting you're getting your multi, your B12, and your magnesium all for about $20 a month.
Yeah, you can't go to, and I'm going to go ahead and name drop because I don't care. You can go to freaking Walmart, which I will not shop there, and you buy a Centrum, which is probably the shittiest vitamin that I've ever come across in my health and fitness career. And I will never, I mean, granted, I was that guy. I didn't know 15 years ago. I was putting that orange thing in my body, and I was like, dude, that didn't do anything for me.
It doesn't work. They don't work because the stuff that they put in them so completely adulterates it and so blocks the absorption that you don't feel.
And they're not alone. Let's be fair, right? No. It's common. It's common across multiple vitamin platforms.
Yeah. So, you know, I hear all the time from my customers, I've never actually felt the results of vitamins like I do yours. Yeah. And that's like the most gratifying thing ever. So, you know, we've got our 4th product coming out in January.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Vinny's been hinting about that.
Yeah, it's a vitamin D3 with K because D and, you know, I don't want to go into this. That's very off topic. But if you're going to take vitamin D, you really want to have vitamin K with it.
It is. There's a God, I forget the term. You could probably correct me on this. There's a nutrient timing alignment where you need them to kind of piggyback off of each other for maximum absorption into the system.
And it affects how your body absorbs calcium. Right. So it's an important...
it's a carrier.
Yeah. And so we're doing a vitamin D plus K, and there are a couple things about it, and we'll talk about this another time, but we've done a couple unique things with it, including, most importantly, now vitamin D and K are both fat-soluble vitamins, which means the best way to deliver them is in an oil-based soft gel, because they're going to...
So is this Villa?
Yeah.
Is this the Villa project? Okay, I'm so excited.
Yeah. So we're doing something unique, and we're co-branding with an extraordinary company to provide our oil.
Can we name drop them? Because I already said half their name.
You already said half of it. We're using Villa Capelli olive oil, which is the most amazing olive oil on the planet.
I take shots of it every morning. Take shots of it every morning.
Highest nutritional value you can get, and we have made an exclusive deal with Villa Capelli.
Paul and Steve,
2 of the greatest guys you'll ever meet. And, eventually we'll have several other oil-based vitamins. So, like a vitamin E is an oil-based, a CoQ10, a vitamin A.
Yep.
Anything that is fat soluble,
I take a CoQ10 right now from my nutrition company, which is in a capsule with an oil base to it because of the fat solubility of it. So, yeah.
Right.
It's huge. Well, it's not. I know, because I'm like, wait a minute, I could piggyback something in that peppery, fresh finish of the olive oil. Again, I'm geeking out right now. To our listeners, guys, you have no idea. Okay, on their podcast, when these guys are talking about it on the Fitness Confidential podcast, or here, we all love Villa Capelli. There's a giant tin in my cabinet right now. I kept that. What is the brown stuff that wraps around the glass bottle? What is that called? Are those like some kind of bamboo leaves?
Like the one that looks like a Chianti bottle?
Yeah. I don't know what that's called, but I kept that one
raffia,
because
I'm not sure.
I keep refilling it because I just drink right out of the bottle.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, when I post stuff like that to Instagram, so they have something to share, because I literally am sitting there like doing. There's now like a cool.
I it into like this tall slim container that has a spout like in a bar.
Yeah.
The little spout that they put on.
I need to get the little tip on the end for that.
I got the little tip that fits into the thing, and that's.
Oh, you got me beat. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm the former bartender. I should be ahead of you on that, man. You got me beat on that one.
Yeah.
But see, this is the point, is like what we just hinted at, guys. We're building a backstory here because we're going to get into Pure Coffee Club, because this is what we're talking about. Like, the reason why we promote purity is because companies like Villa Capelli, for example, whole different podcasts. You guys can go back on my website and search for Andy Schreiber or Vinnie. We've talked about, and actually I've had Paul and Steve from Villa Capelli on the podcast as well. You can look for them too. But dude, we get the olive oil shipped straight from Italy. Like, there's no bastardization of this product. They squeeze the crap in their stone grinding facility right out of the olives and put it in a tin and ship it to you. And I don't know if you know this, but their U.S.-based distribution facility is 20 minutes from my house.
I knew it was in that area around there. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where we had to ship from there to our plant to make the vitamin D, which is in production now.
Oh, this is so exciting.
And it came from Pennsylvania, wherever it is.
Yep. Well, because we're in Allentown, and last time I ran into you and Vinny was when you guys were flying through Philly, because you were doing your coffee research with your roaster supplier guy, which I believe they're based in like somewhere around the South Jersey, Philadelphia area too. Right?
Yeah, they're 20 minutes outside of Philadelphia in New Jersey.
Yeah. So
over the Betsy Ross Bridge.
Oh yeah. See, again, I was literally just driving over that bridge last week.
Yeah,
so
they're just on the other side of the Betsy Ross Bridge. So we were there because we were finalizing some stuff with them.
Yeah.
That's our fulfillment house, and they do our roasting for us.
And you guys were happy enough and just thankful enough. Sorry, I was thankful enough to be able to catch up with you guys in Rittenhouse Square.
It was great.
So
we were able to sit and have a drink, and
we had a nice scotch.
Charcuterie.
Yes, that was a good plate of charcuterie, actually.
It was a very nice plate of
and I think all three of us skipped at least one or two things on that because of the sugar load.
Yeah, because I think they have that. What do they call that? Like that quince paste they kind of do sometimes.
It didn't even look appetizing, actually.
No, so. It looks like solidified Jello kind of thing.
What I love though was Vinny's the Italian. And he's asking you, he's like, what is that? Should I eat that or not? And you had to back him up and protect him.
Yeah. Well, I knew. So
anyway, so please continue. So this is a great segue, right? We've talked about all the backstory. We're jumping into the again, to our listeners, guys, this is what we're talking about, right? So Andy and Vinny are serious about purity and the quality. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect segue. You guys got the backstory. Now we're jumping in the transition, right? Pure Coffee Club.
Right. So the thing is, we did our research, and people were super interested in energy. And, we also found out, how people are getting their extra energy. And even people that are, sort of following, look, not everybody that buys our vitamins, follows Vinny's dietary philosophy, which is no sugar, no grains.
Right. NSNG, he trademarked it.
Yeah. So not everybody follows that, and that's fine. So what we found is a lot of people were drinking garbage to get their energy. And that's in the culture right now. So
the energy drinks are rampant. I mean, I guess I can speak to it from the CrossFit world. It's everywhere. It's disgusting.
It's everywhere. And they're so you have Monster, you have Red Bull, you have Rockstar, you have the 5-hour energy drinks, and then other stuff that people do that are with the what's it called, the emo or eno, or what is that? Some of the other crap that people put in there for the energy that's like supposed to oxygen.
Well, as far as oxygen, I mean, there's other side things now. Maybe you're not hinting at this, but I can connect in on the whole NO2, like the whole nitrous oxide.
NO2. Yeah.
Right, NO2. I mean, to be fair, there is science behind nitrogen oxide, whole nitrogenization of the blood, yada, yada, yada. But again, to your point, these shelf life products, in order to be able to carry that to the consumer market, it's not pure. You're adding in preservatives and sugars to make it consumable.
Yeah, even if there's some science to the NO2, they're delivering it in a drink full of sugar or artificial sugars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's quite disgusting.
So, yeah, it's disgusting. So since that was a point of interest, and our interest is, reaching our customers and reaching people who, we want to give a better option to, there's no better energy drink than a natural energy drink, which is coffee. And what people don't really know, because, just like the sugar industry has lied to us about what's actually healthy to eat, other industries have lied to us about what is actually healthy to drink. And the healthiest drink outside of water and maybe green tea is coffee. Coffee is one of the healthiest things you can drink. And there's a lot of research, a lot of science behind it in terms of its antioxidant content, its disease-fighting content. The research shows that, and this is, from major universities and major cancer studies and World Health Organization. If you drink a lot of coffee, if you drink one of my favorite studies, and this came from a massive study of something like 500,000 people over the course of.
So now you're already got me interested, because that sounds like a legitimate study. This isn't one of those really I got 20 people in a back room type of study.
No, this is a legitimate study, between two organizations, one of which is a university and one of which is a scientific organization, medical organization. And they found that if you drink one cup of coffee a day, your chance of dying from a host of diseases, from heart disease to cancer to liver disease, drops by 12%. And here's where, what was the surprising result is, if you drink 3 cups of coffee a day, that becomes an 18% reduction in your risk. It's just, it's astonishing. And, disease by disease, you can go down in terms of like the reduction in risk, from liver cancer to multiple sclerosis to Parkinson's to Alzheimer's. Coffee consumption actually reduces your risk of all of those diseases.
And I know this doesn't add legitimacy, but I'm going to share my screen here because I'm not a fan of Fox TV. But actually, this website, because you said this, I decided for our listeners, the average person could do exactly what I just did. I just Googled coffee daily, and then I included like 500,000 people, and the word study. And one of the first options that came up is this article saying, drink coffee to live a longer life. 3 cups of coffee a day. This is playing some video. I'm going to pause this because I don't want to listen to Fox.
Yeah, that's probably referencing the same study I'm talking about.
Right, because actually, if you scroll down here in the text, it says the findings came from a world's largest study into coffee's impact on health. 500,000 people in European countries. Boom. So you're not the only one talking about this.
Right. And what was interesting about that study, and it was a variety of European countries, and those European countries have vastly different dietary habits.
Oh, God, yeah.
And the study, the results were consistent across countries. So dietary habits were not a factor. It was consistent whether they were eating a Northern European diet or a Mediterranean diet or an Eastern European diet. Same result.
Which is funny because right now there's a lot of viral content around the whole Mediterranean diet. I have a friend of mine who literally has published in the past year and a half, probably 2 or 3 different books, because she works heavily with people with urinary disease and urinary tract and bladder and all this other stuff. And she's released cookbooks and books justifying the Mediterranean diet, use of olive oil, healthy fats, etc. So, which kind of aligns what we're talking about. But
yeah, absolutely. So that was number one. And then, Vinnie grew up in New Orleans, not New Orleans, but in outside of New Orleans.
Louisiana.
Louisiana. And he grew up in a coffee culture and drinking coffee from the time he was very, very young, and loves coffee. And it just became kind of a passion project. Let's expand our brand from Pure Vitamin Club to Pure Coffee Club. And let's find a way to deliver really good coffee that not only, we're making sure we're bringing it in very purely, we're getting the best sourcing from around the world, but let's get some really great flavors. Let's really go to town.
Yeah, I remember, I'm going to share my screen now again for the video feed here. So here's your site, purecoffeeclub.com is what we're talking about. And you guys launched with 3, I guess we can call them blends, or 3 flavors or 3 recipes.
Yeah, we call them 3 ruse because one of them is a single origin, so it's not technically
Yes,
a blend.
thank you. Because you got house blend, and then you got the honey process, and then you got the athletic blend. So clearly, two of them are blends.
Two of them are blends. And the difference between, look, blends, there's a reason for blends, and there's a reason for single origin. People like single origins, and that's sort of a more current kind of development, that people are really looking for single origins, which means that, you're getting all the beans from one place, usually from one farm or one collective. A lot of coffee growing countries work with collectives, where one region, and there might be 10 owners of farms, and they all sell their beans collectively to the processing mill. But the reason for that is, every coffee growing region, and even micro regions within one country, has its own qualities. So people might like, like an Ethiopian coffee is going to have a very bright, acid kind of a flavor. It's going to have like kind of citrusy notes in it. It's going to be a very different flavor than something, say, from Guatemala.
Yes, definitely. And I've had them all, so I'm with you. I'm a fellow coffee lover.
They're all a little bit different, and people sometimes want that very specific taste of, the bright citrusy Ethiopian, or the chocolatey Guatemalan, or the kind of earthy, Sumatran, and they like that, and that's great. But the advantage of a blend is, and blend almost became, for the certain kind of coffee snobs, a dirty word, because single origin, that's the purest thing, but not necessarily at all.
Well, admittedly, I never followed. I mean, I love good coffee, and
good coffee.
To your point, your website right here. If I just compared honey process and athletic, clearly we now know the honey process is your single origin, and your athletic blend is just one of your blends.
Right.
But getting a blend doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, right? That's what I'm hearing.
No, not at all. It just means that you are developing a more complex flavor profile. So you're, and it's almost kind of not even almost, it is. It's an art to know that you combine just the right amount of the citrusy Ethiopian with the chocolatey Guatemalan and the caramelly, Brazilian. You're going to get this really complex flavors. All that stuff is going to come through. It's like being a great chef and knowing how to combine, your garlic with your rosemary, with whatever it is that you're doing to make your dish taste unique and, savory in that way. This is the same kind of an alchemy. You want to develop a unique flavor profile that is really tasty. So, with our three, we wanted to have a house blend that was kind of our flagship, just great tasting blend. That
there's your keyword of Ethiopian mixed with some South and Central American. So
yeah, and the Indonesian brings in that kind of earthiness. And that's this has been so interesting for me, because I was not a coffee nerd before this. I love coffee,
whether you liked it or not, you are now.
I am now. And the whole process that coffee professionals go through, it's like wine experts. They're the tasting notes and the nose, and we're not going to go into all of that, but it's really complex how they determine the flavors. So, a good coffee will tell you what the tasting notes are, which means you're going to kind of, if you go, and sort of determine what flavors are on your tongue from that coffee.
Oh, I can tell you, I started getting into full geek mode when you sent me those Ziploc bags of the samples of all three of these types of coffee, because I was like, oh, wait a minute. And from our conversations, obviously my fiance, I've become more of a wino. I know that doesn't fully align with our NSNG goals of lifestyle, but I'm like, that is literally the only source of fruit sugars in my life in the past 2 years, besides really avocado, and that's not sugar, that's healthy fats. But so I was like, when those coffee beans arrived, I'm like, okay, great. I've got a good clean palate. I had just finished, you literally timed me perfectly. I just finished a detox cycle. I just cleansed the body. My palate was like explosive and aware. And I got to taste all three of these right before I left for South Africa. So it was just perfect timing, because over there, the coffees I was drinking there and the wines I was drinking in South Africa were just so much better than here in the States. I mean, your coffee literally, I don't know, maybe I'm not explaining this the right way, but I can't explain it. But like I drank all three of these blends, sorry, two blends, one single origin, the honey process. And I was like, man, I can't wait to come back and drink those again.
Yeah.
Is that weird? I don't know.
They're all different. They're all completely different. But they're all great. I mean, my favorite, which is like choosing your favorite child. My favorite is the honey process.
That is so unique. I literally just finished I purposely saved the honey process until yesterday. I was working through it, and I was like, measuring my bags down, because I don't know if you saw this. I was posting it to Twitter and Instagram, and I was doing some French press videos and stuff. And The Athletic, by the way, I totally understand why you guys made that, because number one, Vinnie was involved, and number two, I did The Athletic right before I left to go do every Sunday we do a heroes workout called the Heroes WOD in the CrossFit world. But my one friend's gym, we do it in honor of fallen military, police, firefighter. But it's usually like the most intense, like beat your ass workout. And I drank that stuff beforehand, and I was like, I am good to go.
Yeah. Just so your audience knows, our Athletic blend has 55% higher naturally occurring caffeine level. We're not like adding caffeine. We're blending more highly caffeinated beans in a way that we're still getting, because I'm being completely transparent here. Sometimes the highly caffeinated beans are not known to be necessarily the best tasting.
No, the palatable ability of it are actually really weak, right? It's not very good taste.
It depends. So what we did is we worked with our importers to find highly caffeinated beans that were more tasty than many, and then we blended them with like the most kind of succulent, delicious beans that we could that would complement them. So we really worked. We tried I don't even know how many combinations anymore to get the blend just right, so that we enhanced the flavor of the highly caffeinated beans with others that were from Guatemala and Colombia, which are really mellow, delicious, kind of chocolatey coffees. The earthy is coming from the Southeast Asian. That's where highly caffeinated beans are coming from Southeast Asia. So that
earthy flavor is the Asian influence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the walnut is coming from the Colombian.
Okay.
And that dark chocolate is coming from the Guatemalan.
Well, I'm loving the fact that you guys chose Guatemalan. So I don't eat a lot of sweets and chocolate, again, backing up what Vinnie, teaches too. But if I buy dark chocolate, if I don't get the whole 100% because it is super bitter, I purposely wait and try and find. There's only one that I found here, and admittedly, it's through Whole Foods, and I know he's not a big fan of them, and they're kind of douchey. Right. But I found a dark chocolate that has espresso beans in it. So It's interesting that I'm buying a dark chocolate with espresso, but I feel like that's the best balance.
It's a really good combination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you did here.
Yeah. So, people are actually really enjoying the taste of that, which they didn't expect. The honey process, and I should explain what that is, because it's something that has not been marketed here, and I literally don't understand why other people haven't marketed honey process.
Yeah, let me bring this back up here, because I never heard about honey process until you guys. You guys have taught me so much about coffee.
And it's the craziest thing. And I'll tell you the actual reason that it probably hasn't been marketed much. It's tough to get.
Okay.
You have to really work with your importers and commit to buying the lots, because the lots are small. It only works with a certain kind of bean. So you're already talking about a high quality bean that it'll work with.
So this is like VIP level stuff.
I'm sorry?
Is this like VIP level type coffee here, or what?
Yeah. I mean, it's I don't want to give the impression that it's super expensive. It's not. It's a couple bucks more a bag. But what honey process is, it's a different way of processing the coffee at the mill. Coffee beans, people, may not think about this, but coffee beans are actually like the pit of a fruit. It's like if you imagine a cherry and the pit of a cherry, that's what a coffee bean is.
Okay.
So when you see coffee growing on the trees, they actually, when they're ripe, they turn this red color, and they call them the cherry. So to get them down to the bean, which is the pit, they have a couple of different ways of getting the fruit off. One is called a washed process, where it's literally they do it in water and they push it through this like mesh to scrape all the fruit off. And then there's another process where they ferment what's left off that to get that off. It's a multiple stage process, but they get all the fruit off until
sounds very similar to olive oil and olives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except with olives, you're using the fruit to get you're squeezing the oil out of the fruit of the olive,
okay,
and discarding the pit. There's no real use for the pit of an olive. And here it's the pit that you're using and discarding the fruit. It's kind of the opposite. So in natural process, they're kind of drying the whole fruit, and then once it's all completely dry, then they can strip away all of the fruit again and leave just the bean. In honey process, they take off the fruit, but when they take that off, it's like if you can imagine peeling a cherry, or taking the fruit off of a cherry or a peach or something like that, there will be like a sticky coating on the inside, like around the pit.
Yeah, it kind of binds to it almost, holds it in place.
Right. In those other two processes, they get that off completely. In the honey process, they leave that sticky, syrupy coating on the bean when it dries. So by the time the bean is completely dried, that stuff has just adhered to the bean and now become part of it. In that process, and by the time it's roasted, no actual sugar content comes through, but the flavor that sticky coating makes, adheres to the coffee, and it gives that this unique, rich, just slightly sweeter taste. So, and I don't want to mislead. I don't want people to think it's going to taste like you put, a spoonful of sugar in there. It's not sugary sweet, but it is a sweeter, less bitter taste.
Well, I mean, hell, you got my review on your website right now. I'm sharing the screen from the Rich Honey. It's funny. It's Rich Honey process. Like I'm not lying. There you go, guys. Like I'm screen sharing, but that's my commentary on this. We
didn't make it up.
No, I mean, and you got others on here. So I'm not the only one. So I love this because
look, when we started, we reached out to people. We sent people samples of the coffee, yourself included, and asked for honest opinions, and we put the best ones up there. Now we have a system on the site where users can offer their reviews, and it'll come up that this is all just kind of
that's smart marketing, because you can't beat the voice of the customer. Right. It's
that's
beautiful.
The standard internet marketing. But, at the beginning, you have to kind of force it through because, there's nobody yet who's gotten it from the website. So we reached out to some of our friends and said, hey, tell us what you think. So that's honey process. And it's a little more difficult to do. It's, again, they're limited lots, what they call micro lots. We worked with our importers, and we found this lot out of Costa Rica, which is where honey process originated. The Costa Ricans invented it, and we bought up the whole lot. It will last us, a while. When we run out of this lot, we will have another lot of Costa Rican. I know that's the next one up. We will always have a honey process so if somebody subscribes to our honey process, they'll always have a honey process, and it'll always taste pretty much the same.
I heard that on obviously your Fitness Confidential show podcast.
Yeah. So
I mean, you guys were talking about that.
The next ones that are queued up, because it's a seasonal growing cycle. So it's not necessarily, you're going to get a growing cycle in Costa Rica, and you're going to get another one. I know we're getting one from Nicaragua is on the docket. Vinnie and I are actually going to Costa Rica next month.
Very exciting.
Because what we really wanted to share with people how this is done. So the next crop is coming up. So we had to time this for when they're actually going to be harvesting. So we're going in the middle of the harvest season for this next lot of honey process.
Well, you can't beat that from a purity of storytelling.
Well, that's just it. We wanted that kind of transparency. We are going to the farm. We're bringing our buddy Steve, who does our video work. We're going to go out to the farm. We're going to shoot video at the farm, how it's being picked, talk to the farmers, talk about how they grow it, what special conditions they have to maintain to get the beans, keep the plants healthy and make the beans, at what point of ripeness, all that kind of information. Then the next day we're going to go to the mill where they do the processing, and we're going to shoot video at the mill to show how it's done. And we'll come back and we're going to spend all that money just to show, to create probably 1 or 2 videos to show this is what honey process is.
Yeah, but let's be real. Okay, so how many people, especially here in the States, here in the US of A, we've taken the footprint, the very successful footprint of an organization known as Starbucks. Like, even I'm guilty of it. Like, it's become an entrepreneur's haven, right? You go in there and hang out, you do a meeting, you're on the Wi-Fi, and then while you're there, if
an hour.
Yeah, right. Like, I might show up with my own French press of your brew, but then if I run out and I'm jonesing for another one, I'll buy theirs. Clearly not the same flavor profile, but it is what it is.
I drink Starbucks every now and then.
Yeah, but people don't know where Starbucks comes from. They buy in such massive quantities. They don't have a backstory on where the beans come from. They can't.
Look, they've gotten into, if you go to Starbucks and they'll have, to buy by the bag, they'll have their single origins. They've got their Sumatra, they've got their Ethiopia, they've got their Mala,
sorry, the Sumatra, the Ethiopia, I've tried them both. No.
But they're anything, here's the thing. And this is not to knock Starbucks or Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf or Pete's or any of these chains.
No.
The thing is, they have, Starbucks has, who knows how many thousands of stores. So when they're buying in massive lots in order to keep those same beans consistent throughout their chain. So they're going to the farms that are producing in massive quantities. We're never going to be, buying that way. And they're also buying because they're selling at a certain price point. And because they're buying so much, they're buying it at, a very low cost per pound. Mm-hmm. And that's their business.
It's volume discount.
So it's not, it's almost by definition not going to be the premium best level beans. It's just not. There's no way for them to do that.
It's not possible. Let's be real.
It's not possible because the super high quality beans from the farm, the specialty farms, are not going to have enough to service them. To service 10,000 stores or whatever, ungodly number they have, because there's one, on every other block.
They've definitely gotten bigger because, excuse me, I met people in South Africa on safari, and they were from South Africa, a different part of South Africa. And now we're friends on Facebook, and I saw them commenting the other day, like the one girl was like, "Oh my God, I just made my first visit to Starbucks." And I was like, that's a thing? But I mean, I guess over there, they literally probably just got a Starbucks in that part of South Africa.
There's Starbucks in the UK, in Germany. It's all over. In Asia, I have actually seen a Starbucks in Costa Rica. Okay.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, they have a Taco Bell too, and Kentucky Fried Chicken. Oh, I'm sorry, KFC.
All I can hope is they would at least try and source locally, but. Yeah,
but they don't. They don't, because they're buying in volume for the world.
Right.
So, we're not ever going to be, a company that is servicing that many literally millions of pounds. Mm-hmm. So, when we buy, a lot of coffee, we're buying maybe a few thousand, maybe we're buying 5,000 pounds, 10,000 pounds at a time. With our blends, we know that with our lots, we're going to have to adjust a little bit because next time we buy that lot that we bought last time from Ethiopia is not going to be available. So we're going to have to buy from a different farm in Ethiopia. And that's where our roasters come in, because they know exactly how to tweak it to keep that blend at the same flavor profile, even with the slight tweaks in sourcing.
Well, I'm almost kind of a little bit of excited if you guys end up starting to have a problem in the next year or two. And I'm not trying to promote problems in business, but this is a fun one, is like Villa Capelli. Right, like thanks to the success of Vinnie's podcast and what you guys do,
they run out.
They run out because they will only sell what comes from their farm.
Right,
and
we're a different model, so that's
a different model. But that'd be kind of cool if that sort of happened once in a while. I don't know.
Look, it happened to us once already on Pure Vitamin.
Really? Oh, okay.
When we launched our B12,
yeah,
we hadn't. It had been 18 months since the launch of our last new product, which was the magnesium.
Sure.
And we had grown a lot in that 18 months.
Oh, you guys exploded.
Yeah. And that was also the first time when we did this, which was just this last June. It was the first time we were using our, fancy digital marketing expert and really did a very coordinated, sophisticated campaign in advance. So, we thought we've always operated very conservatively, which is how we've managed to never have to, dip into any kind of loans or anything. We've always, from the day one.
You guys have grown smart. So homegrown, if you want to call it
homegrown.
That way.
We never wanted to put our financial solidity at risk. So we've grown very slowly. So this was the first time we were doing this big kind of, coordinated, fancy, with pre-promotions and launch. And we did a webinar. We did all this stuff, all the, the marketing bells and whistles. And we ordered this. Okay, let's order this amount of product. Manufacture it so that it's ready to go on day one. That should last us, and we'll see how well it sells. And by the time we know that, we'll know how much more to manufacture the next time around. Well, we did that, and we sold out of what we manufactured the first time around in 3 days, which
Oops.
A, very exciting, but B, it was a real problem because I knew by 8 o'clock, because we launch at midnight. When we launch new product, the stroke of midnight, the day of launch, it becomes available. So,
West Coast or East Coast?
East Coast.
East Coast, West. Oh, yeah. Most people do that. Okay. I just thought that was a fun question to ask. So.
Yeah. Well, and only that because our web developers are back there. They're in Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
So midnight East Coast, we go live. So, the first couple hours before I went to bed here out in LA, I kind of saw, we're already selling, people are already buying it first thing. That's great. And then when I got up in the morning and I went right to the computer, I want to see, how's it doing. And like a cold chill went through me because I realized, oh my God, we're going to sell out. And what are we going to do? Because it takes about a month to manufacture.
Yeah, and I remember you guys bringing this up on a past Fitness Confidential show. You were like, "Oh my God!"
Just crank them out. So it takes about a month. Even if you have the materials, you've got to schedule it in with the machinery and all that. So oh my God! So I called the factory and I said, guys, you got to ramp up immediately 5 times the run that we did the first time around. And the problem is for people who buy a combination pack,
like me,
right? If you can't, with our fulfillment house, they can't send out a partial order. So if somebody is ordering the multi-cap with the B12, and
you can't do like an IOU delivery or something.
No, the whole thing gets held up, and a lot of people who were already our multi-cap and or magnesium customers were switching over to this new, to combinations that included this. And now all of a sudden, they're not getting their delivery and they're running out of their multi-caps, running out of their magnesium because we can't deliver because we're behind. It took us like close to a month to get them.
Yeah, but I mean, I know that you probably got a little burned out from this, but little to sing some of your praise, you still do all your own in-house customer service. So you jumped all over that shit and we're locking it down as best as you could. So.
We've talked about he was my assistant. Now he's our marketing operations manager, Dylan, who's amazing. He and I hammered out in that first week. We had about 1,200 emails from people.
That's legit. That's legit.
Yeah. And, we had to answer all of those. So we were just cranking them out. And, as fast as we were, answering them, there were more coming in. But we got through it and people were very, very kind and very patient and understanding. And
I don't think I was even fazed by that. So I must have lucked out.
Yeah. You got into the cycle probably right at the start, but we were doing things like, what am I going to do? My delivery is not going to be for 3 weeks now, and I'm out of my magnesium, and I can't sleep without it. So we were literally for I'm not going to say hundreds, but for dozens of people, we were putting little sample packs together and sending them out to people for free so that they wouldn't run out of their magnesium until they, or multicap until we could fulfill their order. So we were sending
nice
out
touch.
dozens and dozens of little packs of 5, 10, 20 pills just to keep people going until we could deliver. So it was crazy. Where we learned a lesson from that with our next launch that we're doing next month. We are doing a manufacturing run 10 times what we did the last time.
10 times? Wow.
Yeah, we're doing a 10 times larger manufacturing run than we did with the B12.
So what does that mean? Like a major investment, obviously?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, we'll have a lot of money tied up in product, but we don't want to have that happen again.
That makes sense. I mean, nice touch on the customer service, right? Like you didn't have to do any of that. I mean, you guys really, and that's the business tip to our listeners, guys, since we talk about health and business on the show is, dude, provide the value from the get-go.
From the get-go. And what
you create loyalty. In
my mind, we do have to, because it was our miscalculation that caused the problem.
Yeah.
And it was straight up miscalculated. We just didn't think it would be anywhere near as big as it was. So while it was very exciting and very gratifying, and it changed our business overnight, we had to accommodate and make sure that our customers were happy. We worked that out with Pure Coffee Club, with our buying with our importers, and we also have to work that out with our roasters, because we haven't put up yet, I think, the video that we did in the roasting house. We did a video.
Well, I know there's only so much roasting that Vinnie can do on his front porch for testing. That was hilarious.
Yeah. We did a couple videos. We shot a lot of raw footage inside the roasting facility. The problem is it's so noisy, because those machines are so noisy.
Oh God, yeah.
But you're talking about, you're roasting, several hundred pounds of coffee at a time. They're these massive machines. So you can only roast, when you've got enough of an order to do that. And yet you also want to time it out, because you don't want roasted coffee sitting there for a month. You want to move it out quickly. So there's a real art to finessing how much you roast, how often.
Right.
At any point, I do not want to deliver people coffee that's been sitting roasted for more than a week or two.
And I think you're right. I'm actually currently, while you're chatting, I'm looking at I'll just go ahead and share it for you. I'm on Vinnie's YouTube channel, because I believe you guys didn't launch a separate Pure Coffee Club channel yet, did you?
No, not
You're using
yet.
Vinnie. Okay.
So we did all these videos.
Yeah.
We haven't yet put up the one in the roasting facility.
No.
But we did one on each one of our coffees. We did the one second row all the way to the right. That's my favorite, because it's so much fun.
Oh, and you guys did that one on the street? Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Isn't that hilarious?
That's a good one. You guys got 2,500 views on that one. That was great.
That was really, really fun to do.
Actually, out of all of your coffee-related ones, that's the most successful. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was almost an afterthought, because we went and we shot all this video at the roasting facility in New Jersey. And then there's also a lab where a lot of training happens and other things happen, which is in Long Island City.
Is that like quality assurance and stuff too?
Yeah. And then we whipped through it all sort of more quickly than we thought we would. So we had like 3/4 of a day left with our Steve, who does our camera work. I thought, well, how are we going to use this time? Let's not waste. We're here in New York. And so, together we kind of talked through this, and let's get on the streets in New York. Let's go visit some coffee houses. Let's go to a diner. Let's go to a Starbucks. Let's go to
provides reality, transparency.
Yeah, and we just had the best time doing it. And Steve was amazing. We got establishing shots, the outside of the coffee, and people were stopping us, and like a little behind the scenes kind of stuff here. We wanted to shoot like the two of us walking into a Starbucks on Broadway. So we tried to get just the right look where Vinnie and I are walking, with a crowd.
Yeah.
It took us like 4 or 5 takes to get just the right kind of take of people. So it's genuine, but we're still trying to make a nice video here. And people were kind of stopping and saying, "Oh, they're making a movie! They're making a movie!"
Yeah, people get excited about that in New York.
Yeah, don't get too excited. We're just a couple guys, with a coffee company. But we wanted to tell a story, and the story is genuine, but there's still a little bit of smoke and mirrors to make that kind of stuff happen. But then the conversations inside that we had are the real article.
I love it. I mean, I was cracking up when you guys launched that. I just brought the video here. I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to share it again, just so people can see how you guys literally have shots of New York City.
Oh yeah.
In the, I mean, you guys aren't kidding. Just like you're saying.
No, that's all shot on the street. None of that is stock photography, by the way.
No, this is all, I have a pause, but there you guys are. You guys are. No, I keep forgetting how much taller you are than Vinnie.
Photography shot in there.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't go out and hire musicians to. That is stock music we put behind there.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna actually have to bring this. I'll have to hyperlink this in the blog content.
Yeah. Every frame of that is genuine. We shot all of that, and we had so much fun. But since we launched, it's now a little over 3 weeks. It's going great. People are, responding really well to the coffee. We've gotten, nothing but great feedback. We offer a sampler pack, which I'm really, really excited about because it gives people an opportunity to. We offer both 12-ounce and 8-ounce bags of all of our coffees, but our sampler pack. You can get an 8-ounce of each at kind of a discount price. So you can try it out, see which one you like.
There it is.
And
for 3 8-ounce bags at $25. Honestly, I'm already looking at this. I actually was looking at it the other day because this time of year, I tell people one of the secret successes of marketing is if you're trying to grow business relationships is that when you give a holiday gift to somebody, make sure you've taken the time to get to know them as a person in their real life, not just their business life, and try and really personalize a gift. So if you're looking to grow a new account or grow a new relationship, or you're just trying to show respect to somebody don't just buy them some kind of cookie cutter gift. So I got a couple of buddies of mine and just colleagues or people I know in the business world that I want to think of, and I know they're fellow caffeine nuts like I am. So I'm I'm going to drop ship them a couple of these bad boys and let them get a taste. And they'll be like, wait a minute, where'd this come from?
Yeah. Well, it's been a really successful thing for us because then people could say, I tried them all and I like the athletic blend or I like the honey process. And then great. And then we, again, being fully transparent, we're not just in this for the great fun of it. We're businessmen and we want this to work. So we have a campaign where we send out emails to people who have bought the sampler pack and say, hey, hope you like the coffee. Did you decide what your favorite is? Answer these few simple questions. Tell us which one you like. How much coffee do you drink? Let's find out some more about you. And if you liked one of them more than the others, here's an incentive to subscribe.
Nice.
And, we're giving people 15% off the first month if they have bought the sampler pack and want to subscribe.
Well, I mean, and real quick, I know that's exciting, and I've already promoted it because, like I said, I'm looking at it right now. But to me, something more important that really shows you guys are big picture thinkers and an understanding of building a company full of a legacy is you guys truly leveled this up from the Pure Vitamin Club when you created Pure Coffee Club. Because what I'm about to share to the viewers right now on YouTube is that, and when you guys discussed this with me in Philadelphia, I was really excited because I talk all the time about that event that I go to every year called Thrive, Make Money Matter, which has entrepreneurs from all over the world coming in to discuss and teach and share how to build companies with purpose. Because when you align yourself with purpose, then it's kind of like the perfect business model because as you chase to make more money and be more successful, you end up giving back more because you're aligned with purpose. And you guys have done this with your new giving program.
Yeah, we are so excited about this. This is an idea that we came up with that just felt like the absolute right thing to do because we have been successful since we started this, and it's been we're really grateful for that. And when we started this, we said look, coffee, by definition, is coming from countries in the developing world, and there
Sure.
are a lot of problems in the countries that this comes from, and that's just a matter of geography. I mean,
Oh, believe me, I just got back from South Africa. Trust me, that was a wake-up call.
yeah, it's coming from this kind of band, which is determined by where coffee can grow, just environmentally. So we thought, what can we do to share some of our success and give back to the communities where we're getting our product from? And we did a lot of research. We wanted to do something, work with an organization that we felt confident in how well they were run, and that if we were supporting them, the money wasn't going just to pay a bunch of big administrative salaries and a lot of marketing. So we settled on, after a lot of research, water.org, which is a great organization that works on bringing safe water to the developing world. And you can see this on our site, and you can go to water.org's site. So an organization, one of the founders is Matt Damon. They work in 14 different countries. And the way we developed our program, it's completely optional, but we give our customers the opportunity when they check out to add up to 50 cents per order that would go to water.org. And penny for penny, whatever our customers donate, we match.
I love that, because I've been a part of that whole isogenics world since 2010, and one thing they've always been partnered with from the beginning was the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Yeah. So every time I get my monthly, supplement or nutrition order, I always have a small donation going to Make-A-Wish. It just becomes automated, so I don't think about it, and right. That's what I love about this.
We set it up that when you subscribe, and our subscriptions, you can get them with your deliveries monthly, bi-weekly, or weekly, but all of our billing is monthly. So you're really, I had wanted to do it, per shipment, but it just technically it didn't work that way. So if you are choosing the maximum donation, it's 50 cents a month, whether it's a monthly, weekly, or bi-weekly, because that's how often you're being billed, and that was kind of the only thing we could do. So if you're doing say you're ordering 2 bags of our house blend on the subscription, so you're paying, basically $15. You're paying $30 a month, plus the $5 shipping for each. If you're doing just one shipment, because it's $5 a shipment, it's okay. You're going to be paying for the 2 bags $30, $5 for the shipping. You're up to $35. And now, if you want to add 50 cents, your charge on your account is going to be $35.50. A few pennies less because it's $14.97, not 50, but whatever.
Sure.
That 50 cents that you give every month, we're going to be matching. So that means $1 goes to water.org every month. So that's that's $12 a month from your subscription. But for if we have 10,000 subscribers, all of a sudden that's $120,000. That's a significant amount of money.
Well, and that's what I teach people all the time. Like, it doesn't matter how much money you have to give, even if it's a small amount. You have to keep in mind this is the bigger picture, right? What is the scaled up model once you multiply that times 100 or 1,000 right. or 20,000 people, just like you've explained.
Right. And what I like about that is that now becomes our community giving to another community.
Mm-hmm. And I think here in the U.S., we're constantly reminded that we underestimate, the pleasures that we truly have. And I hinted earlier, like I just got back from South Africa, and yeah, we were down in the southern port, literally South Africa. So we were in Cape Town. That wasn't so bad, but leaving Cape Town, which was, an area that was settled by the British and that whole history. But while we were there, they were suffering from a major drought. Yeah. And when you go further north, like we went up to the Franschhoek wine valley. They also were suffering from a drought. Now, granted, once we flew back up the second week, 2 weeks north. I forget how many miles north, but it was 2.5 hours north to Johannesburg. They weren't suffering from a drought per se, but it's just when you go to another country and you experience another culture, and there's a total different lifestyle transformation there going on, and you see that. Listen, we take a lot of things for granted. And something as simple as clean water means so much to other cultures. We take it for granted here.
People's lives are completely transformed and we're talking about not just clean water to drink, but to, for sanitation, for cleaning their clothes, for going to the bathroom, for washing hands.
Well, look at just south of our border here. I mean, here in the USA, you go over to Mexico, you got children bathing themselves in a river that literally somebody else just defecated in, that also somebody else just washed their clothes in. So it's like, okay, people are washing their laundry, bathing their children, and defecating in the same source of water. I don't even know if they're drinking out of it. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't want to go that far.
Yeah. But I don't know. But look, living in California, I have been over the border, many times, because even when our factory for Pure Vitamin Club is about literally 15 minutes north of the Mexican border. It's very, very close. It's very, very southern part of California.
Okay.
On one of our trips down there, Vinnie and I, when we went down to the factory, we decided to go to Mexico for lunch. Let's go to Mexico for lunch.
There you go.
Which he kind of regretted afterwards, because the line to get back across the border took me. We actually drove, which you can do. You can walk across too. I said, let's drive. And we spent about an hour in line to get it back across the border. But the point is, literally the minute you cross the border, you see the difference. In infrastructure, in lifestyle, you're in the third world the minute you cross that border. And this is Mexico. That's not and that particular part is not the poorest part of Mexico. You go to Mexico City, you're like in any other big metropolitan city in the world. It's very sophisticated and very modern. But there are parts of Mexico that are not that. And that's true throughout Latin America. You'll have the big metropolitan, very modern, very sophisticated cities. And then you go in some of the poorer rural areas, and that is the third world. And that's true for the coffee growing countries, for Guatemala. Certainly I've been there, for Nicaragua, less so for Costa Rica, which is a little bit a better society. There's less horrifying poverty there than in a lot of places. But there are many of these countries around the world where actually, having access to clean water can change people's lives. So that's what we wanted to give back to. And a lot of our customers are already making that choice. And it doesn't cost a lot. You can do 25 cents or you can do 50 cents.
Oh, it's a no-brainer. I mean,
or
because from a get-go, you guys are automatically doubling whatever you're donating, so to speak. So it's like, why not do that?
If you're spending $30 a month on coffee, to spend an additional quarter.
Well, how many financial gurus are out there talking about how, oh man, you're trying to save money or wipe out debt, stop going to Starbucks. Well, how about we flip that equation and say, listen, whether you like it or not, you're going to go to Starbucks, okay? Or if that's who you are. So in this case, we're saying, make your own coffee and then look at the dollar value that you were spending. Clearly, you're probably saving $3 to $4 per unit on that cup of coffee, so to speak. And I'm comparing this to like a freaking flave latte, whatever the hell you want to call it. So all I'm saying is you're saying, listen, guys, we're now giving you the opportunity to just do 25 to 50 cents. We'll double it. And now every time you drink, or every time you order coffee from us, you are enjoying your caffeine while helping another country. I love that.
Helping somebody else for the cost of,
less than a cup of coffee
on a parking meter.
Yeah, I mean, less than a cup of coffee. Let's be real.
I haven't seen a cup of coffee for 25 cents, since I was too young to have a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was like back in the days of the old school Mickey D's or McDonald's or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's like that was like back in the day. That was it. It's like, oh man, you throw on a cup of coffee for 25 cents.
Right. I remember when it was like that. When I was in high school, my best buddy and I would ride our bikes home from school every day, and we'd stop every day and get not even a Big Mac, just like the regular 39-cent, I think it was at the time, hamburger. Or 29 cents maybe, and a little tiny bag of fries and a small Coke, which all of that.
You mean back when the serving sizes were realistic and not bloated?
Yeah, they were small, not bloated. And we would literally spend about $1 for a hamburger, fries, and a Coke.
Yeah.
Every day we'd stop on the way up from school and do that.
I mean, I joke around all the time. I tell people if you want to eat healthy while you're traveling, especially in New Jersey, my hack is I just pull into one of the very, very many New Jersey diners, right?
Yeah.
Because most diners in New Jersey are owned by Greeks or whatever, but it's eggs and bacon, man. Like it's not rocket science, but even there now, you're dropping at least $1 to $1 to $2 for a cup of coffee,
right?
And it's nowhere near the quality of what you guys are selling. That's like that.
If you're getting diner coffee, you're getting a cup of Robusta beans. You're getting.
Yeah, I figured you had a term for that.
Well, there are two different kinds of beans. There are Robusta beans and Arabica beans. And a diner coffee, it depends. You might be getting good Arabica beans.
I thought Arabica was a higher level.
It is a higher level.
Okay.
Yeah. Robusta is what, like if you're buying.
That's like a Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Is Dunkin' Donuts? I mean, here on the East Coast, Dunkin' Donuts is huge, but
I don't even know what's in Dunkin' Donuts. But
it's awful. I just don't like it.
Old school diner coffee, McDonald's coffee. That's Robusta because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And Robusta, by the way, does not have to be a bad bean. Robusta gets a bad rap. The reason it does is because most of the Robusta that people were putting out in the cheap diners was like the commodity coffee.
There was no flavor. It's
the cheap coffee. There are Robustas that would blow you away.
Okay,
but again, those are going to be the small lot, more highly tuned kind of coffees. From a grower who really knows how to nurture a great plant.
Yeah.
And you're going to get Arabicas, which are considered the better bean, that are horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's like two overlapping ranges. So the very highest range of Robusta is going to be better than the lower range of Arabica. They're going to be.
So there's very little that kind of separates that plateau shift. But when you do, you notice it.
It's a different kind of bean. It has different growing habits. Robusta is easier to grow.
Okay.
It grows all year round, whereas Arabica doesn't.
So it's easier to support the mainstream consumption
at
the mass scale that Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks is at.
Traditionally the coffee that we all bought, growing up, or our parents bought, that was in the I don't know how many pounds that is, the round can in the coffee.
Yeah, the big cans, yeah.
Big cans that you'd get at the supermarket.
They still sell them that way. I think Chock full nuts or whatever that brand is still sells like the cans.
Oh, they all do. They all do. Interestingly, after I didn't even see this until after we made the decision to come up with our athletic blend with the higher caffeine, and it was actually Dylan, who works with me, who found this. Maxwell House, one of those brands that we all grew up with.
Sure.
Maxwell House, Hills Brothers, U-Bam, Folgers, Chock full nuts. Maxwell House came out with several high caffeine coffees. They've got one that's 25% higher. Or like 50, I don't know, 55, one full-time higher, 1.5 times higher. I don't know. They've got 3 different grades of higher caffeine, they call it, and they put a real marketing spin on it. They give it this very masculine kind of looking, and they call it Max, just Max.
Supercharged.
Yeah. They put a real marketing spin. So I bought some. I went to the market and I bought some of each of the 3. I wanted to see what they were doing.
Of course, you're basically a human coffee lab now when you have your own company.
And I tried all 3 of them. And, I don't want anybody writing, letters that I'm trashing another company, but they were awful.
Well, I mean, again, it goes back to your earlier point. What is the batch quantity, the batch size, the quality? When you go mainstream and you start doing massive quantities like that, there's got to be a degradation of quality or flavor along the way.
Yeah, that you just can't do it. It's just not possible.
Yeah. I don't judge you. I say that being transparent.
It's the same reason Gallo wine is never going to be as good as a really great small vineyard from Napa. It's just not going to be the same.
Oh, believe me, like I love our cleaning service. I never had a cleaning service until this past year for our house because I've been traveling more for business. So I'm like, okay, to reward my fiance, to keep us happy, I will have somebody come in at least once a month and do a nice full-blown house cleaning. So these ladies are super nice, and I think they actually are also from Guatemala, actually. But they left us a bottle of wine. Now, okay, we've been to Napa Valley now last year, and now again a few weeks ago we just got back from South African Wine Valley. So it's like, okay, we've been a little spoiled, and now my palate has actually grown a little bit, and I felt bad because I'm like, I cracked the bottle the other night. I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. But my Kristen's like, she's like, well, listen, Scott, she's like, it's not their fault. It's a Frontera wine, and some people think that Frontera is a good company, and it's not really not. It's just a mainstream mass quantity, mass production wine company.
It. A mass quantity is going to get out there cheaper, but you're not going to take the time and to develop the real quality. So
yeah.
That's the business we're in. We're not ever going to be competing with Starbucks. And I said, there's nothing wrong with Starbucks. I've had some.
No, Starbucks isn't going anywhere. Let's be real. Okay, their footprint is massive.
We're not trying to knock off Starbucks.
From as far as an entrepreneurial journey and growing a worldwide brand, they have taught us so much as a company. They're doing great. And that's the beauty of it, is because coffee is finally, I mean, I think you guys are doing a great job bringing it back to the forefront, teaching people that coffee's not bad for you. Vinny's done a great job of bringing that up. Like, hey man, next time your doctor tells you quit the coffee, ask them why, because they actually don't have a valid answer behind it. They just say, well, because it's bad. It's like, no, seriously, like what makes it bad? They don't have an answer.
Because it's not bad for you.
No.
It's just not.
Because again, it's a whole food. It's naturally grown in the real world, and it's been around for freaking decades upon decades. So
that's what we call it, nature's energy drink.
I love it. Oh, and I joke around too. I tell people all the time, like, this is all natural energy. And I forget the email that I sent you guys, but that was kind of what I was hinting at. Like, I want to discuss the power of all natural energy, something as simple as drinking a cup of coffee from Pure Coffee Club.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, you take that honey process and you add a little heavy cream.
Done it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, I teach people about the breve latte, where you take an espresso and you use a half and half.
Yeah.
And then I've some places who actually have, I'm like, hey, try and do a latte with a breve on steroids. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, bring out the heavy cream, bro. I know it's probably too heavy to make a latte froth, but I want that. I want that rich fat.
It isn't. Vinny and I, and it's in that video, our 3 Waves of Coffee video. We went to a kind of a third wave coffee house in New York. I don't remember the name of it now.
You got them to froth up a heavy whipping cream?
Yeah, I asked them if they could make us up a couple lattes with heavy whipping cream, and they did it.
Okay, now I got to go back and look at that video.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
With the and they did the whole thing. You know how they do with they make the little heart the way they pour it.
Oh yeah. They drag the toothpick through it or whatever. Hey man, add all the flair you want on. In the end, I judge it by flavor, and I can go back to thanking Vinny and you. I never drank a breve anything until I started listening to your podcast many years ago. So, and I'm thankful for it, because I never was a sugar guy anyway, but I was getting bored with coffee because I didn't have the flavor. I mean, I love drinking black. I'm thanks to the firefighting, like I'm a black coffee or a cowboy coffee kind of guy, all you want. But now I spoil myself by throwing a little half and half in once in a while, maybe a little butter.
Yeah, and that fat in there is also going to help fuel you. So.
Exactly, because I tell people all the time, fats are a richer, longer standing energy source. So you want the longer burning energies.
Win-win.
Exactly. So listen, this has been an amazing podcast. I'm so glad we were able to catch up, because I feel like it's been a while.
It has been. Last time I really talked to you at any length was in Philly when we were there.
It was in Philly, yeah. Oh, on a side note, I'm trying to convince Kristen because now we're planning the wedding, because the engagement obviously happened. Actually, I was just in Philly 2 nights ago. We had to go back down to do some ring shopping. So, because I actually, when I asked her parents' permission for her engagement, I also asked her mother for her engagement ring, because her mother can't wear it anymore, and Kristen loved it. It was an old style, like blooming rose with a diamond in the middle of it.
Nice.
It's like from the 70s. So I knew sooner or later she'd probably want to get it reset into her own setting. So we were down in Philly at the old school Steven Singer Jewelers doing ring shopping. But so I just thought it was funny, because I haven't been down to Philly since I met you guys.
Yeah.
But on a side note, I'm trying to convince her to do the honeymoon at Villa Capelli.
Wow. Well, I can tell you, having been there.
Yeah, you got me beat.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's beautiful.
And I know Steve and Paul would love it, because I joked around with them a little bit. They're like, dude, they'll take care of us. I'm not worried.
They will take such good care of you, and the rooms are like, talk about a romantic kind of a place.
Exactly.
Oh
Yeah.
God, you love it.
Yeah, the only thing that's changing it up now is because we're such ski nuts, because we're planning the wedding. We're going to do Banff, Canada.
Wow.
So we're not doing a wedding. We're going to do a heli skiing wedding. So we're going to go flying in helicopters and, do the whole skiing thing. Like, if we're going to spend that kind of money on a wedding, why not go have an adventure? So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So that's the game plan now. So if you're bored around March 2019, it's going to be helicopters and skiing. Not everybody has to get on a helicopter, mind you. If people just want to go skiing in Canada, they can just come up and enjoy the party. So,
wow, amazing.
Yeah,
that is, you are an amazing guy.
I just get bored. So, and I'm lucky enough to have found a girl that can actually put up with me for at least a little bit.
Yeah, no.
So, and unfortunately, she doesn't drink coffee, but I'll wear her down sooner or later. I told him, like, you're missing out. I get all the good pure coffee club.
More for you.
Exactly. So listen, I mean, I want to bring this show to an end, respect your time, get you back to your life. To our listeners, that you've been on the show multiple times, you know that we always love to close the show with something, something that you care a lot about, and you've always had the same statement. But in this case, we've now spanned the breadth of now 2 pure company launches. And now I really love the connection to what you're doing with your gift subscriptions and your giving programs. So I really feel almost you've leveled up since last time I've talked to you. So is there any kind of new messaging that you're trying to get out there behind what you and Vinnie are trying to do? Because I love where you guys have been going with business after business.
We already sort of covered this, but I would say that, and this has been like a real growth area for me too, is, as you develop yourself and develop your life and hopefully your success, is always kind of remembering to look outside of yourself as well, and get out of the self-motivation for just a minute, to look around and see what you can do that is, and there would be the argument that nothing is totally selfless, and I think that's probably true, in that when you reach outside of yourself and look what you can do for others, it does feed you too, and it does double back to you in ways that you will not expect, that maybe aren't direct and maybe you can't even see right away. But if you can, get yourself out of your own head and out of your own, drive to succeed and do what you want to do, and find those little ways that you can, spread the love, spread the joy, spread the good energy, it'll come back to you.
I love that message, sir. Well, hang tight. I want to give you a proper goodbye. To our listeners, guys, Andy Schreiber's return. Once again, never holding back, always letting his true message come through. Again, I'm sharing the screen one last time. Check him out at purecoffeeclub.com. We hinted at it earlier in the show. Check him out at purevitaminclub.com. Andy Schreiber, the partner in crime with Vinnie Tortorich. These guys are changing the world one pure company at a time. So again, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for tuning in to another Live the Fuel show. Keep living the fired up epic life, and we'll talk to you guys again soon. And you're clear of the pod.
Beautiful.
Well, thanks for tuning in, sir.
Thank you. It was fun. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
I always look forward to our chats. So, and it was cool to finally get to do it in person as well. So,
yeah.
But I told you guys in Philly, I'm loving what you guys are doing.
I love what you're doing with. I'm so impressed with how you've been able to build what you're doing there so quickly, and building an audience and doing good work.
Oh yeah, when you find good mentors, it makes it a little bit easier. So we're just trying to do things. You guys align with me perfectly. I tell you, don't hold anything back. Be pure. And actually, it was funny because you ever hear of a JJ Virgin? She's a viral woman online. I just saw a comment the other day. She's like, "You haven't started making it or really making an impact in the world until you've started attracting haters." And I was like, "Interesting, interesting." Yes. So it's funny.
We're going to start doing a feature on our podcast, which is mailbag.
Okay.
we get some really funny mail.
You got to, because I'm not at your level of exposure and downloads as a podcast show yet. But now, I was hinting at it before we started the show, that the YouTube, oh my God, the past 2.5 weeks, I did a 3 podcast episode sequence with 3 different gurus that have all been on Vinny's show because I've referred them to Vinny about the whole back when AHA they released that stupid bullshit about coconut oil. And how it was wrong. Yeah. So I did a 3 boom, boom, boom. Anyway, it's funny because now how many months later, all of a sudden, like the YouTube world seems to have caught up, and they found one of the episodes, which is Dr. Jack Wolfson, who's the author of The Paleocardiologist. He's based out of Arizona. Yeah. His wife, who's a chiropractor and natural wellness practitioner, really changed his life because he was years of a heart doctor guru with the statin world, and he decided to change his life. Well, long story short, we did a podcast, and it's funny because podcasting is different than YouTube. But just like this, I'll air this on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I've got maybe 20% of the comments have been people busting my balls because they're like, just let the doctor talk. I don't want to hear you. And I was like, really? I was like, you do realize this is my show, my podcast, right. And I don't do a boring Q&A podcast. So I've been taking my time to figure out how to properly respond to some of the commentary. But I was like, a couple of people, I'm like, listen, if you don't like it, go listen to another show. Other people, I was like, listen, it's my show. I will talk because he's a guest on my show. Right. And this is an open format conversation. So I want him to be comfortable, and we have to have a casual conversation. If you want a boring Q&A, go find another boring Q&A show.
Yeah. I get 99% of the mail that I get is positive, or, people have a specific question or whatever, but every now and then, we send out our email blast. We did one about gift subscriptions, that. I get this email from somebody, and I've had some questions. When are you going to be available in Canada? And we're working on that. It's a shipping issue with UPS.
Which is another exciting growth opportunity.
Yeah. So I get this email. We do Canada on Pure Vitamin Club. We just haven't worked it out with UPS yet for Pure Coffee Club.
Oh, that's a logistical nightmare.
Yeah. A response to that email said, until you start shipping to Canada, just fuck off.
Wow, aren't you spicy?
Okay, thank you.
Dude, we're trying. Give us a chance.
No. All right.
Well, yeah. Andy, I guess you're just not trying hard enough, sir. I mean, really, apparently you need to be able to crack the whip on UPS and tell a multi-billion-dollar organization what to do. Right. I mean, seriously, get it together, man.
I know.
You're just not working hard enough.
I know. All right, Scott, it's been a pleasure. As always.
Awesome. When's Vinny head out of town then? Because I saw the emails.
Of town on Thursday. He actually wanted me to ask you if there's time that you can podcast with him tomorrow.
So, I do. Yeah, I'm heading out of town.
Shoot him an email with what times will work for you, and I will talk to him in a little bit, and I'll make sure that he responds.
Is he more available in the evenings, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Tomorrow night's great. Because I leave out of town for about 3 days to upstate New York Tuesday morning. So
tomorrow works then. Shoot him an email.
I'll email him back after we get off the phone here. So.
All right. Perfect.
All right, sir.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Bye.